Well, it's been 6 months since San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie was sworn into office. The city has seen some changes, more changes coming. He joins me now in the studio live to talk about all of this. Nice of you to come in. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
When I first talked to you, it was upstairs. The campaign was brand new. Now you've been at it a few months. What is different from what you expected, Mayor?
Well, I think it's a relentless job, and you have to attack it with that same relentlessness. I'm doing just that. Our administration is focused on creating a new era of collaboration between myself, the Board of Supervisors, but also our department heads, making sure that they're communicating and cooperating and not so siloed, which is what I found when I got there. And we have really big challenges. They are on display. But the opportunities to address them are what give me the hope and optimism every single day.
The mayor said to me as he sat down, "I love my job." That not everybody says that, so I hope you do.
I do. You know, listen, we're living through wild times. Whether, you know, you're talking about the awful tragedy in Texas, whether you're talking about what's going on in the immigrant community, like, you need to be able to control what you can control, and we at City Hall are focused on getting results for the people of San Francisco, doing what they elected me to do, and I take great pride in that, and I'm honored to have this job, and I love it every single day.
All right, your first budget did get some praise for fiscal responsibility, but tell us what a structural deficit is and how you plan to deal with it.
Yeah, we walked in $800 million budget deficit, a historic deficit. We had to close it over a 2-year period by law. We made $570 million worth of cuts this year. It's painful. It gave nobody any joy whatsoever. But we focused on core services, clean and safe streets, pushing towards our economic recovery that's already in full swing. But we also took a chunk out of that structural budget deficit in years 3, 4, and 5. The controller, independent entity, said we cut $270 million out of that structural budget deficit. So if we can get back to our core services, we really believe that this city can thrive again and hopefully close that budget in those out years.
You're not going to provide all of the space for the homeless you promised during the campaign, at least not as quickly as you had hoped. So what is the current strategy? Yeah,
we believe in progress over politics. What we are focused on is delivering the right kind of beds for people. I was on my way over here. I saw somebody struggling on the street. Getting that person that's struggling with fentanyl addiction into a shelter bed is not going to do the job. And so we are focused on getting results for people on the street, for the residents of San Francisco. So it means building the right kind of beds. I'll give you one example. At 822 Geary Street, we have created a stabilization center for our outreach teams, our law enforcement, to bring somebody in there, get stabilized, get assessed, instead of having those people go to SF General, where it costs tens and tens of thousands of dollars. We're getting them into a place where they can get really coordinated care and into the right kind of mental health bed or drug treatment bed. So we've already stood up 400 beds. We're anticipating another 1,000 by the end of the year.
All right, I'm told there's some kind of protest going on now, I think at City Hall. People who are upset about your attempt to remove a supermajority requirement to redirect Prop C funding. A lot of people don't know what that is. So what is Prop C funding? What would you say to those protesters?
Well, listen, we're working with the Board of Supervisors. Prop C was passed about 7 to 8 years ago to address the crisis on our streets. And right now, we need to adapt. We need to change. Fentanyl has changed the game. So we want to use some of that money to go after and stand up more shelter, more mental health, more drug treatment beds. And so we're focused on delivering for the people of San Francisco. It's going before the board. We're in talks with the Board of Supervisors, and we feel very confident that it will pass.
All right, like a lot of big cities, the city has had some trouble keeping the police department fully funded. You're calling in some retired officers to help out, but what is the best long-term strategy?
To fully staff our police department. We're 500 officers short. It requires mandatory overtime, which costs a lot of money. That's why we've been focused on fully staffing that department. We're 500 officers short. We have seen a surge in applications year over year to be a police officer. We just announced sheriff's deputy numbers that are the highest in 10 years. So we're starting to recruit better. It could take a year and a half to get through the recruitment process to become an SFPD or a sheriff's officer. We're trying to really shorten that time so that we have more officers out walking the beat, really talking to community and small business owners. Everywhere I go, everybody wants to see more officers walking the beat. If we get to a fully staffed department, which we are on the way towards, we'll be able to deliver that.
The permitting process has been streamlined. The legislature did that with a lot of fanfare. But what does that actually mean for the city?
Yeah, so we introduced
infill housing.
Well, if you're talking about housing, we've also started something called Permit SF to help small businesses, restaurants, bars get up and running more quickly. It used to be that you'd have to go, if you wanted to put table and chairs outside, it'd take you a month and $2,500 to get through our permitting process. We've gotten rid of that. We've stripped away levels of bureaucracy that may have had good intention decades ago. We're trying to make it simpler, easier to start a business, to run a business here in San Francisco. On the housing front, we introduced a family zoning plan. We want to make it more affordable for families to be here. We want them to have a dream that their kids can actually stay in San Francisco long term. So our family zoning plan, connected with what I believe you're talking about, the CEQA bill that the governor just passed, is going to allow us to build more housing more quickly. I'm all for what was passed in Sacramento, and we need to control our own destiny. That's what the family zoning plan will do for us here in San Francisco.
Let me ask what the city is doing, Mayor, to protect immigrants who live and work peacefully in the city. As you know, ICE agents have been showing up at some immigration hearings.
Yeah. In this historic budget deficit period, we kept funding level for our immigrant defense support for our immigrant community. We've actually pushed and partnered with private philanthropy to increase funding to those groups. So there's more funding going to those groups this year than last year. We're in touch with the Rapid Response Network, so every immigrant knows their rights. There's a lot of dealing in rumors. We want people to know what's actually going on the ground, and so we're connecting with community organizations throughout. Our policies keep us safe in San Francisco. We've had them in place for decades. I'm going to support them, and the immigrant community, I said this during Pride, the LGBTQ plus community has an ally in me. I'm going to stand shoulder to shoulder, and we're going to stand up for San Francisco values every single day.
New York City voters, as you know, they've nominated a socialist as a candidate for mayor. San Francisco voters clearly went in another direction. But what is going on with urban politics?
You're asking me to get involved in something outside of San Francisco. I'm staying focused on San Francisco. No one elected me to chime in on Sacramento politics, except for if I can go up there and try to get funding for our city, which I've been doing for the last few months. You don't want me to start pontificating on politics outside of San Francisco. The San Francisco residents, voters, people that come visit here, they want me to focus on the challenges and our opportunities, so I'm going to stick to San Francisco.
I don't know, you pontificating might be kind of fun, but all right, maybe another time. Sticking to New York City, I think it was Ed Koch who used to go around and say to voters, "How am I doing?" And people loved that. When you talk to people in San Francisco, Mayor, what are they telling you? How do they think you're doing?
I think overall, I think they see the vibe shift. They see that we are heading in the right direction. You know, opinion polls show that people feel more confident in the direction of our city than they have in the last 6 or 7 years. And I get feedback every single day by walking the street. I get messages from friends all the time. And so I think I'm getting an honest assessment. Listen, things are improving, but we have a long way to go. Like, we are off to a strong start, but we got 3.5 more years, and we have to deliver for the people of San Francisco. I'm not satisfied. Nobody's satisfied in my administration, but we are headed in the right direction.
All right, it hasn't been long, but give me one thing that you're most pleased with. Well,
I think, honestly, I think it's the vibe shift. I think being able to pull off the NBA All-Star Weekend and the Lunar New Year Parade all in one weekend. That Pride Parade last Sunday was it was just so energizing to see San Francisco values on full display. I think if you walk down any street in San Francisco, there's a pep in people's step that we haven't seen for a number of years. And so that vibe is what I'm most excited about and optimistic about.
All right, come back and do this again. You're right.
I would love to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mayor, for coming in and doing this. Time to talk about weather. Kyla, I trust you've been listening attentively to your mayor.